I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while. I have finally done it. I set up my camera, actually just my phone, at an event that I do every year. It's a big event in my community with lots and lots of people, and I wanted to paint kind of a real time showing you guys how I paint at a festival. I have, of course, sped these up, and I've cut out some of the time me grabbing paint, but for the most part tried to leave everything in so you guys can see some real examples of me painting from one kid to another. I will say that every kid that got in my chair, I found their parent close by and asked them if it's okay, and I explained to them what I was doing with my YouTube channel. So all the kids had an adult that said they could be filmed. One other thing I noticed, which is actually really cool, and you'll probably notice as you watch these, the kids loved watching themselves get painted in my camera, which was set up on the corner of my Craft and Go. So not only did they really like being able to see themselves, but a lot of the kids were focusing so much on the camera that they were less wiggly, they didn't move as much. So it was actually kind of brilliant. I think I might have to set up a mirror there so the kids can kind of see what they're doing and it's not so much of a question. So this little girl wanted to be a black cat, so I gave her a black and white cat, some little flowers on the top. It was really, really cute. Now, this was maybe about 3 hours of painting, probably a little bit less, and then there were some parents that didn't want their kids filmed, of course, so I shut the camera off for those, but for the most part I didn't really cut anything out, so you'll be able to see me really painting at a festival. Now this is one of those festivals where when I turn my back and look at the line, it's daunting. There are so many kids, it's crazy, but it's a great time and I really, really love doing it. So I'll pop in and say a few things during this, but for the most part I'm going to be quiet and you guys can just watch me paint. This little boy was sweet and he wanted a monster mask. Now when I was sponging this on him, I did tell him to push back towards me. You kind of say, don't let me push you away, because to get that sticky tacky paint into the stencils, you have to push really hard on kids and it feels like you're pushing them. So if you tell them to push back towards you, it can help you apply the stencils. And kids get that. They do it really easily. So it's not a big deal and it will help you out a lot. And I always talk to the kids. I asked him if he wanted, teeth And he said yes. It's an easy thing to do, and it's nice. They feel like they have a choice, but you're not taking up too much of your time. So this little gal wanted Harry Potter glasses, and of course I should have adjusted the camera up, but it was such a busy event that I really forgot about the camera and I didn't look at it, so you won't be able to see the little scar that I do over her eye, but I just gave her some wire-rimmed glasses and the little Harry Potter scar, and she was happy. When I do cats, I ask them to open their mouth so I can sponge on the muzzle, and that way it does not get on their bottom lip and I have less that I have to clean up. And see how all the kids are looking into the camera? It was really great. I really do think I'm going to put a mirror there for my next event and see if that works just as well. They're just focused more on themselves and they're looking at the design I'm doing and they're less distracted and less wiggly. It was really awesome. So you'll notice sometimes the camera is wiggling, and I should mention that my assistant is on the opposite side of me with another chair painting as well. So she's getting into my kit and loading paint, which of course is making the camera wiggle a little bit, but this is a super, super busy event. So sometimes she's controlling my line more often than not, but for this event, she is painting the entire time. So we have 2 kids in chairs getting painted and trying to get through our line as quickly as possible. This kid was really cute and funny. He kept meowing into the camera, which is my favorite part about face painting because kids love it. And I think it brings out the funny, silly side in everybody because you're getting your face painted. It's fun. So he wanted a cat as well. So really, I just picked boy colors. I picked a boy split that had the green and blue. And then I gave him blue inside of the ears instead of what I would normally do pink. So just really easy switching it up per kid. And it's more fun for me to use different colors. I don't like to paint the exact same thing over and over again. Sometimes you kind of have to with some of your designs, but if you can switch it up, it's just more fun for everybody. Okay, here's another one that I did notice the camera was set for smaller kids, but it was so busy I really wasn't looking. So I'm just using my large number 10 Flora brush, and this was actually a group of cheerleaders that all wanted the same thing. So I had one sit in my chair and the other two are lined up next to me, and I'm doing the painting. See, there's one gal. I'm doing it assembly line style. So I loaded my brush, I do all of their flowers at once. Then I'm going to do all of the petroleum jelly down on them for the chunky glitter, and then I get my chunky glitter out and I apply the chunky glitter. When you have a group of especially like teenagers that comes up to you, ask them, are you all getting the same thing? If they're all getting tribal designs, do them all at once. It's going to make your life a lot easier. In this case, I only had to get my glitter out once and take the lid off and get my Q-tips out, and then I just assembly lined all of their design because they wanted the same thing. So it worked out perfectly, and it'll save you a lot of time if you do it that way. So you'll start to notice that I am going to do a ton of mermaids and a ton of unicorns, because once one kid gets something, then, you know, all the other kids see them walking around, and then it seems like I do 100 of them. So this is going to be kind of a modified mermaid design that I do at festivals. I do paint a mermaid on kids a lot, but with the kind of line I had, I could not do that. So I do mermaid scales, I do teardrops, and then I do dots to mimic pearls, and I do a shell in the center of the forehead, and glitter. And that's usually, for this kind of high volume festival, going to be my mermaid design. The other thing I'll mention is this is one of the reasons I don't do pictures, because if I had a picture of my regular mermaid design with the full mermaid, I would never be able to get through all these kids. All right, this kid was really cute. He wanted a scary skull, and he wanted it to be very scary, and he was so excited and really, really fun to paint. You'll notice I'm using StarBlends too for a lot of my fuller face designs. StarBlends are great because you don't have to activate them with water. So instead of, you know, spending 10 minutes getting the water and your paintbrushes and all that stuff, you grab a smoothie blender and you can get bases down really quick. I love using them for tigers. I love using them for skulls. I also like the softer look that they give. So for, you know, this skull in particular, it's the white on it is softer than if I were using water activated paint. So hopefully that makes sense. And you'll see I switched to water activated paint for the flames and the line work. So you can definitely mix it up and use water activated paint with your StarBlends, but the StarBlends are just such a great base. And this funny little gal had a special request for a rainbow mermaid, so I just used a large rainbow split for the mermaid scales so that she could have a rainbow mermaid. And you'll also see me using my glitter spritzers, which are amazing. I highly recommend them for events like this, and I definitely think limiting yourself to a few colors of glitter in a spritzer saves a ton of time. And this gal wanted a frozen crown, and her mom asked that I keep it low on her forehead so if she sweats it doesn't come off. So I modified mine a little bit. I think it still was really, really pretty, but I just tried to keep it low, closer to her eyes, and not up on the top of her forehead. And this little guy wanted to be a puppy, so I am doing kind of my simple puppy since he was pretty little, and he did a great job. I did not go over his eyes, so this is what I would typically do on a kid this age that wanted a puppy. I make kind of floppy ears, and then I pull a muzzle down and in the center of his face, and that way I'm not sponging over his eyes, and it's not too hard for his parents to get it off later. But he did a great job. He was really, really still and excited. So you kind of never know with smaller kids, but he was really, really good, and it turned out really cute. I did do a lot of designs at this festival I don't typically do, but we had a lot of custom requests, and as long as I think they're easy enough, I'll say yes. I do say no to things that I think I can't do, but this gal wanted a rainbow princess. That's not too hard, so instead of using one of my other splits I would normally use, I just used Leanne's rainbow, which is super, super pretty, and gave her a crown. And this gal also had a custom request. She wanted purple animal scales, glitter, and some swirls. So no big deal. I don't mind easy custom requests. I can handle those, and I like making kids happy. So if that's what they want, I will do it. And I think this little guy was my first zombie request. And then after him, I had quite a few more, of course. That's how it always happens. Somebody gets something the first time, and then the next couple of people in my chair all want the same thing. But I love doing zombies. I also use my StarBlends for zombies, and I have another video on my channel of my easy festival zombie. So if you want to see more detail on how I do this, but it is pretty easy and really effective, and kids seem to like it a lot.